It's been a while since I've done a tier list video, but today we are doing a NASCAR video game tier list ranking from S being the best of the best to A being pretty dang awesome, but it could still be a bit better, and then you get the point all the way down to F where it's just not that good. Now, I've already gone in and I have put games I haven't played in the haven't played section because I didn't want to just kind of kill time throwing them in there. So there is a lot of older games I have not played because, well, my first NASCAR game ever that I genuinely put time into was not until NASCAR 09. So I was a bit late to the scene, I guess, for a lot of people around me. I feel like they had kind of all enjoyed a lot of these games here that I've never been able to experience, but if you've been watching lately, I've actually been going back and playing some of these older games. So as I continue to play some of these older games, we're going to come back eventually and make an updated tier list on where I would slot some of these. But let's dive into the first game that I have actually played, NASCAR 2000. Now, this was not my first ever NASCAR game, but it was a game I picked up for like $5 at a store in like 2011, 2012, and I remember actually playing it in my dad's garage. The graphics didn't look great, but it was a 2000 game, let's remember. But I remember specifically racing a lot at Watkins Glen. But for its time and for myself as like an 11-year-old, I had fun with it. It was actually a pretty fun game. Now, it felt just as clanky as you would expect from an older school NASCAR game, but I didn't really have that bad of a time. I actually had a relatively decent time, but I don't have the most memories of this game, so I can't like go and throw it into like a really good ranking. I can really go off of just how I remember feeling about it, and I'm gonna put it kind of right in the C range, kind of in the mid tier. I'm like, it was a good fun time, but you know, I didn't like come out of that game being like, oh yeah, like I want more of this going forward. Let's talk about Dirt to Daytona. Now, this is a game I literally played for the first time just a couple weeks ago, and I just started live streaming a career mode series on this, and it's been pretty dang fun. What I liked about this game was it is very different from some of the games that come out just in the years after in terms of the handling. The handling in Dirt to Daytona was really good for the time, and it really stood out to me from that side of things. The career mode's a bit ruthless from what I found so far, but I love the progression of the Dirt to Daytona career mode so far. But like I said, it's a bit ruthless. You gotta really grind. It kind of reminds me actually of the game all the way over here, NASCAR 25. You kind of gotta grind it out to get anywhere, and that always leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I don't mind grinding, but when you gotta grind for multiple seasons on end in the lower series just to get somewhere, that's always a bit frustrating. But I had a lot of fun playing this one so far, but I'm not gonna put it up here. I know a lot of people are gonna put it in like the S tier, but from my experience so far, I'm gonna put it a tier below in A. Like, it's a pretty dang awesome game so far from what I have experienced, but I know compared to kind of what's coming out in the future, there's games I enjoyed a lot more, so I'm gonna put it in the A tier as well. It also lacks the O'Reilly series, which isn't that big of a deal, but it does kind of lack a NASCAR series in the game, which is kind of unfortunate, but it still makes up for you know, having dirt, and then it has you know, the truck series, it has the modifieds, it has the cup series as well. But the reason I'm putting it up in A though is because I do like the progression. I like the handling of the game. That's really the standout, is the handling. This could maybe trickle into S. It could maybe trickle into S tier, but we'll see. I'm going to keep it right now in A tier. NASCAR Thunder 2003. Now, I'm going to put this one in the B tier. I have only played this a few times, and I've played it once on the channel as well, and it was okay. The handling is where, for me, for whatever reason, and the reason I don't put it up here with like a Dirt to Daytona or something like that, is the handling from NASCAR Thunder 03 and kind of beyond took a very weird turn for me personally, for whatever reason, compared to Dirt to Daytona. I've never really been a fan of the handling of these Thunder games on forward. That's always been a bit of a drawback for me, but the game overall, probably the least I've played of a lot of these games coming up, so I can't say a whole lot about it, but I mean, for its time, looked alright, played alright. In terms of just the handling though, that was kind of my big drawback from NASCAR Thunder 03. NR 2003. Oh, this is an interesting one. I'm going to put this one in S tier. Now, this is a game I have a lot of fun with still to this day. Now, I was very late to the NR 2003 community. I didn't get into it until like after 2020. The game had already been nearly out for 20 years before I had even touched it. But I love the mod support of the game, and that is going to be part of the rankings in this video, because you guys know I love modding games, and I am an advocate, and I believe that community-made content deserves a place in NASCAR gaming. But NR 2003, great game. I can play it on my wheel, and it feels solid enough on the wheel to have a good experience. It's not great, but it's good enough to where I can have a solid, fun time. And obviously, like I said, the modding, you can go crazy from having mods from all the way back in 1948 to now current day in 2026. Track mods as well, and it's a ever expanding community that continues to mod and put work into this game and bring it up to date, so to say. It's just, there's so much to it still now to this day, and also the fact of the feature being able to, you know, watch races, watch the AI race around the track, which I cannot believe that's something we still don't have in modern day NASCAR gaming, by the way. That feature is still missing from all NASCAR games, and it's a layup feature that everybody would love, is just being able to go in, spectate, watch a race, and just watch it play out and make YouTube videos, for example, on that. I would do that in a heartbeat, but I cannot believe somehow we still don't have that feature in current day. But there's so many cool things about this game, mainly just out of the mod support and the community support, and people are still learning new things on how to mod this game and continue to take it further. It's a very clear S-tier video game. NASCAR Thunder 04 is an interesting one. I have done some career mode on this, and I have similar complaints to NASCAR Thunder 03. The handling was something that threw me off so much that I just didn't enjoy playing the game very much. So I would probably put it also in a B, but I'd put it ahead of NASCAR Thunder 03. This is a very popular video game, and I'm sure if this was a game that I grew up with, I'd have a very different opinion of it now. But I came to this game literally like a year ago, 20 plus years after the game came out, and one of the biggest things that really frustrated me was just I wasn't a fan of the handling. But in terms of the actual gameplay, love the actual gameplay of the game. The career mode is very fascinating. Of course, it really dives into the depths of team ownership, and there's so many cool things that are in that career mode that I hope we can see going forward. And as I'm saying that, that's actually why I'm going to bump it up to A, because there's a lot of things in that career mode that are going to be desired going forward into other NASCAR games. The innovation of that was great, and the actual having to manage chassis and damaging your chassis and all the different components of the car that you had to take care of. And it felt like when you're actually racing in the career mode, you know, damaging your car, and if I do that in NASCAR 25, for example, if I damage my car in NASCAR 25, there's a little bit of a downside to it, but not to a point where I really feel like I'm hurting myself going forward. Where in NASCAR Thunder 04, I was afraid to crash because I'm like, this is going to be really damaging to my next race and then some. And there was an actual focus on putting together clean races, and actually having to keep it clean all the way through to make sure I can keep the money and keep the cars in good shape, and then be able to take that money that I've been able to save and then invest that further into improve my cars going forward. I really love that concept, and the career mode was just done so well in terms of just innovation, and there's a lot of things from that I hope, of course, we can get in NASCAR 26 and beyond, especially with them kind of having a focus right now on team ownership. NASCAR 06 Team Control. This one right here, very interesting. I'm kind of flirting between A and B. Now, I'm going to put it in B for now. We'll see. Maybe we'll go forward on that. But obviously, this introduces the system of literal team control. You can swap cars, you can give commands to the team on what to do. The career mode in this game is relatively solid. I'm a bit fresh to this game as well. I just first time I ever played this relatively recently as well. But I've always heard the career mode is pretty dang buggy in this game. This game also is the first NASCAR game that I've had in the series, because I did not play NASCAR Chase for the Cup 05. So NASCAR 06 would be the first iteration that introduced it for me, which was the intimidation feature or the share draft feature, and I love that concept as well. Being able to intimidate a guy in front of you, and then you'd be in the middle of the corner and they'd get loose and they'd slide up the racetrack. Such a cool concept. And then you could actually make those rivals, and the rivalry system in these games as well were really good, because if you would make them angry, they'd take a swipe at you. Sometimes they could completely screw you over and ruin your race, but it's so much better than like the rivalry system that we had in like NASCAR Heat, for example, later, 10 years later, whereas in this game, it was like they'd take a swipe at you, they'd cool down. It wasn't like they'd spend the next 5 races trying to screw you over anytime you were around them. The rivalry system was really well done in this game. The handling as well was a bit improved compared to like Thunder 03 or 04. Like I was able to kind of get up to speed a lot quicker, but it's still a bit clanky, not perfect. Then again, always to keep in mind, these games are mid-2000s racing games. You can't expect the greatest handling out of them. But I always felt like this was just, from what the little I've played so far in just a literal couple of weeks, it's been quite a bit of fun. But I'm going to keep it in B for now, mainly because of buggy career mode, and I mean, we could flirt with putting it in A, because it's the first game that in the iteration of that I've played with like the intimidation feature and whatnot. I'll keep it at the top of B. I keep it at the top of B for now. NASCAR 07. This is another one I'm going to put maybe in B as well, because solid game, but it doesn't do anything like over the top special, and that's kind of where A is, and then S is like, and you can't really beat it. I think we might put Dirt to Daytona in S by the end of this, but we'll keep it there for now. But NASCAR 07, this was actually, I played this game after NASCAR 2009, so I had NASCAR 09, and then I went back to NASCAR 07 because I wanted to play something different, and this game, I actually really enjoyed the handling in this game. I enjoyed the handling in NASCAR 07 as a kid. I played quite a bit of the NASCAR 07 career mode. I always really enjoyed as a kid the progression of the career modes in like the 07, 09 games, coming from, modifieds to trucks to the nationwide series, and then into the Nextel Cup Series, for example, in NASCAR 07. But of course, you at this point could race for real teams. You also had like driver retirements and stuff like that. I also remember the career mode in this game being so cool, with the fact that like you can also like when you do have your own team, you can still like hire drivers and stuff to actually drive for you, which, my goodness, if we could get something like that now, that would be so cool. On top of that as well, like you could do, I remember like merchandise, you could like set prices for like your team merch or whatever. There was also like, I remember like interactive like autograph sessions and stuff, like little things like that really make a career mode great. And I also know like other games had it as well, but I'm just mainly talking about NASCAR 07 because that's the one that I really experienced it in the most. I'm actually going to put this in A. I'm actually going to put this in A for that reason, because there's so much in that career mode that I loved personally, that I've experienced, that I would love to see in future NASCAR games as well. NASCAR 08. Now, I'll be honest, this one is, I'm going to assume that this is there's two different versions, like the PS2 version or the PS3/Xbox 360 version. So I'm going to kind of do like a hybrid of this. I'm going to like put it in two different ones at the same time. But I played very little of this game. I remember playing it at my uncle's house, and I was like, yeah, the game's all right. This is kind of the game that basically led me to get NASCAR 09 and then dive into NASCAR gaming, basically. But it was okay. I thought it was all right. It was on the PS2, played all right, but I'd never dived into like the career mode or anything. It was literally just playing it for about an hour or two at my uncle's place. I actually remember racing against him in split screen, and then I was like, oh yeah, I want to play NASCAR games now, and then that NASCAR 09 was the first game. So I can't really give it a solid rating. Now, I've played actually the Xbox 360 version of NASCAR 08 more, and that's what I'm going to rate this one as, because that's the one I've properly played, and it's not going to be a B. This one is going to be, I'm going to put it genuinely down in F for the Xbox 360 version. It was so bad, I bought it in like 2015. I was super late to the game on that one as well. And I remember getting it being like, oh, this is going to look so much better. It's going to play so much better. No, it was downright terrible. The career mode, it was whatever, not that impressive, but the actual driving and the frustrations, that's why it's an F for frustrating. It was such a frustrating game to play. The handling, it wasn't terrible on the Xbox 360 controller, but the biggest frustration was always around racing with the AI. It was so easy to get wrecked by the AI and, you know, like hitting other cars. It was so easy to get a black flag. Everything felt so, I think the word I'm looking for is stiff with the AI and just the overall physics and whatnot. Everything to me always felt really stiff on the Xbox 360 version, and it was just not fun to play. However, there was one part of the game I actually did enjoy, and that was the challenge in the game, like the wreck avoidance challenges. I forget exactly what the mode was called, but it was like learning the way of the game, and it was you know, there was wreck avoidance challenges, there was other stuff as well, but I really enjoyed actually those wreck avoidance challenges. But just overall, I felt like I wasted my money on this game. It was not fun to play, and I gave it up pretty soon after. I tried to literally complete like one full season, and I was losing my mind, and literally just completing a season was like that. I was enough of that game at that point. I said I got to get off that game. NASCAR 09. Now this is an interesting one. This is the opposite. I've not played the PS3/Xbox 360 version of this game ever. So I'm going to rate this as the PS2 version, which was the first ever NASCAR game I played, and I sunk so many hours into this game. This is a game, from what I'm aware, isn't the highest rated, but out of it being my first NASCAR game ever, nostalgia is going to take over. I'm going to put it right behind NASCAR 07 on an A. Man, that's going to be controversial that I'm rating this like higher than like NASCAR Thunder 03. But I had a blast with this game as a 9-year-old. Looking back at it, is the game as good as I thought it was at the time? Of course not, but I had a lot of fun with it. The career mode is, you know, compared to like say NASCAR 07, you really notice a lack of progression in the career mode. You know, saying that, let's put it here. Let's put it in B. Let's put it right there. If I compare it to other games I've played, yeah, we'll put it in the B tier, because there was a very massive lack of, you know, progression with the career mode. In terms of, it just went backwards in terms of what they did, the features and whatnot. It got to a really simple point by this point in the game series, and of course it was the last game from EA. The career mode just became very more just straight line. Couldn't even like own a team in NASCAR 09 career mode. It just removes so many things for like no reason. Maybe it's because they put all the resources into like the PS3 and the Xbox versions of the game, but like you compare it to the game 2 years before, it's like, well, how have we gone backwards? It kind of reminds me of EA Sports NHL in this modern era, but it's just like, how have we gone backwards in the career mode? It was lacking so much more. But I ain't gonna lie, I still had so much fun with this game at the time, because that was my introduction. But if you compare it to the other games that I've played now that came out previously, it's like, yeah, there was a lot lacking there. The one thing this has going for it though is on a controller on a PS2, this was the best handling game for me, and I just played this very recently again, and it was still for me the best handling game of this era on a controller for me. I don't know why. I get along way better with the handling in NASCAR 09 than any other NASCAR game. But the career mode, such a lackluster career mode. Fantasy tracks were pretty cool. I did enjoy the fantasy tracks and whatnot. And one thing I loved about the EA era as well was, like, remember the chase plates as well you could unlock, and you could unlock like night race, like Daytona road course or something like that. That stuff was always really cool. I really enjoyed that, and I love the fantasy tracks that they did in these games, and I really hope that's something that comes in the future for NASCAR gaming. I need to start talking quicker, because this is going to turn into a long video. NASCAR the game 2011. I only played this one on the Wii. on the Wii, not the Xbox 360, not the PS3. It was quite simply, I would put it as I'm gonna give it a C. It wasn't terrible. I didn't have a terrible time. I literally had a little Wii wheel controller and I could like turn, and it was like kind of cool. But graphically, it was like, it looked okay. It held me over to the next games that came out, like NASCAR the game Inside Line, but it didn't do anything special. The career mode was simply just drive a real car as a real driver for the most part, and then just do your races. But it did have some cool things, such as like eliminator mode. That was really cool. I was a big fan of that, so that's something I would like to see come into NASCAR games in the future. But it was just like, it was okay from my experience. It wasn't anything special. NASCAR Unleashed. I actually love this game. I would put this in A. I love NASCAR Unleashed. That was the first game I got actually on the NASCAR or on the Xbox 360. Such a very unique style game, of course. It is all arcade cars on these fantasy types of racetracks and is all about smashing into your opponents and trying to beat them at the end of the day with some like obstacles kind of littered in between. It was such a cool concept, such a great game, and it's a shame that we don't get anything like this anymore outside of like NASCAR Arcade Rush, but that was genuinely horrible. But if they remade NASCAR Unleashed like to a T, it would be a massive success in my opinion. NASCAR the game Inside Line, that was my first proper NASCAR game on the Xbox 360. I would give this a high-end B. Like, I'm gonna put it kind of like right here in front of like NASCAR Thunder 03, but I wouldn't go much higher because, you know, the game was good. It looked good graphically. It was a lot of fun to play, but like the career mode, you know, all you really had was the Cup Series again, and the career mode didn't do a whole lot of anything special for me. And I mean, you could, of course, you were driving for your own team in that game, and there was some, of course, progression with, you know, development of the cars and whatnot, but it never really did anything for me, to be honest. But I still had a lot of fun playing. This was the game where I made my closest friends that I still have to this day online. Shout out to Jay. And I mean, that I cherish more than anything was honestly just the league racing aspect of this game. That was kind of the shining part for me with NASCAR the game Inside Line. NASCAR Redline. I didn't think we'd see this in here. That was like a NASCAR manager game on your phone. This was actually a lot of fun. I'd put it in B. I actually had a lot of fun playing these games, and then there was like NASCAR Manager that came out after. But yeah, it was a little manager game on your phone, and you had like little interactive scenes of hitting the gas and the brake, trying to hit like these little lines, and then that would also like lead to the success or the opposite in your races, and get the actual idea of being able to manage a team and watch the races play out and stuff, and see all the stats and going through a season. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun. NASCAR 14 is where I feel like we started to go a bit in the wrong direction with the Technics games. At this point, we still only had the Cup Series and the career mode. The career mode had not really changed whatsoever. It was still custom teams that you could do. You could never race for a real team. One thing that I did like, though, is they started implementing, you know, you could actually make custom paint schemes and use them in career mode instead of using default paint schemes that they had pre-made with sponsors. No, now you can have the ability to put your sponsor on the car and make a custom scheme around it. That was really cool, but it just felt like we started going in the wrong direction of like we were really lacking progression from Technics. Not really, there wasn't a whole lot to offer. Online hadn't really improved or anything. Career mode hadn't really improved, and the AI I felt like started going backwards in this era as well, because this was kind of where we started to see, like, you know, you'd race 4 wide, 5 wide at Bristol and Martinsville, and the AI just to me started getting pretty crappy. So I'm gonna put this honestly down in C, because it wasn't that bad, but it didn't do anything special for me. But what I am gonna put even lower, NASCAR 15, I'm putting down here in the D section. Now, problem was with this game, the AI really sucked in this game. I will stand by that. I just did not have a whole lot of fun, and it was basically a carbon copy of NASCAR 14. Not really any difference other than the actual paint schemes and roster itself. I didn't really have any fun in this game. The AI, like I said, kind of killed it for me. That's what I look for the most in NASCAR gaming, is the AI, the experience with them. I did not enjoy it. NASCAR Heat Evolution. I'm gonna put, oh man, I'm gonna put probably down in like F. I didn't really enjoy NASCAR Heat Evolution very much. There was some annoying bugs here and there. I just experienced one recently in a live stream, actually. Yeah, buggy. Graphically, it didn't look that great. The handling was really frustrating. I was never a fan of the handling. It was super twitchy. Racing around the AI was really frustrating because if you would run into them, you'd ping pong off them and you'd start hitting everything and go flying up and over. The engine sounds weren't that great. Just everything really wasn't that great from NASCAR Heat Evolution, but it was a start. It was a start, and watching the progression from Heat Evolution to like Heat 5 was quite a journey. But yeah, I mean, the first game I was not a fan of. I did not have fun. NASCAR Heat Mobile, I've only played this like once. So I'm gonna actually put this more in like the haven't played because I didn't really give it a proper chance, but it was like, yeah, it was whatever. It was all right for a mobile game. NASCAR Heat 2, I'm going to put in the E section. I'm going to put it in the E section. It wasn't like I hated playing it, but it was frustrating still a little bit here and there. The handling, this was like, you know, NASCAR Heat Evolution to Heat 2 was like a small jump up, like graphically, it looked a little bit better. Lighting looked a little bit better. The handling felt a little bit better. The AI racing was a little bit better. Everything just felt like it was a little bit better than Heat Evolution, which is exactly why I put it basically a little bit better in the ranking. One thing I did enjoy, though, was the fact that we could race for real teams now in NASCAR Heat 2 career mode, and obviously they kept that up for the rest of the game series. NASCAR Heat 3, again, it was another decent step forward. I wouldn't put it in a D because I actually enjoyed playing it a good amount, so I'm going to put it in C. I'm going to put it ahead of 14. I'm going to put it ahead of 2011. I'm going to put it ahead of 2000. This was another step forward. Like it felt like we took 2 steps forward, giving it 2 ranks higher. We also had now the inclusion of other series. We had the trucks and you had the O'Reilly series, for example, at this point, and I really enjoyed that. You can see the actual progression being made by Game 3 and Technics' lifespan. It felt like we hadn't really gone anywhere. By Game 3 in the Heat lifespan, it felt like we were really getting somewhere. Again, the handling felt a bit more polished. This was when the AI, I started having more fun racing the AI in NASCAR Heat 3 compared to Heat 2 and Heat Evolution. The lighting looked better. The sounds were getting better. The handling was continuing to improve just from Heat 2 and beyond. So it was just another step in the right direction for me. And as well, the career mode, I think at this point as well, this was like we were doing like the hot seats and whatnot in career mode, which was actually kind of cool. I actually like that concept. Every once in a while you get a hot seat for the next series, and then you basically try to impress, and if you would succeed, you get another hot seat for maybe a better team and try to impress them to try and link up for them going into the next season. And I always skipped all the team ownership stuff at this point, but I enjoyed the progression of the career mode that we had in like NASCAR Heat 3. NASCAR Heat 4, though, this was where we took the big leap, in my opinion. I am going to be very, very bold and put this in A. Some of y'all might not agree, but I had a lot of fun in NASCAR Heat 4. Now, obviously, NASCAR Heat 5 is literally just the same game, so we'll rank that differently. But NASCAR Heat 4 was that big leap from Heat 3. It took a huge step up in just overall playability, handling, as well graphically, and lighting looks so much better in NASCAR Heat 4. The AI, I still am a firm believer you're not going to have a better experience racing AI in a NASCAR game, which is why I'm not just going to put it over here in A. I'm actually going to do the outrageous right here. I'm going to do the outrageous, and this is a personal tier ranking. It's going into S, because what do I look for to have fun in a NASCAR game? I'm a single player specifically. I look for the AI experience. How am I having fun with the AI? I had so much fun racing the AI in NASCAR Heat 4. They felt a lot more alive. I did so many episodes in the career mode and had so much fun racing the AI in this career mode all throughout the lifespan of NASCAR Heat 4, and it just really felt like they took a big leap and improved everything, and not only just by a small bit from Heat 3, but just a very noticeable leap forward with all aspects of the game. NASCAR Heat 5, like I said, it was literally the same game. I obviously was able to cherish a lot of memories with NASCAR Heat 5. It was the series on this channel that got me anywhere, and we modded the daylights out of this game, but because it's in, obviously it was now under Motorsport Games at this point, but just because of the fact that it's literally just the same game, and also the fact that it was literally just updated rosters, we are going to drop it down a little ways to like a B, because it's just like, I'm going to put it in front of NASCAR Redline, though. It's just like, The mod support, though, for this game is fantastic, and we were able to do so much with this game in terms of series on this channel. NASCAR 21 Ignition, though, we're almost done. NASCAR 21 Ignition, not even a conversation. I wish, honestly, I'm going to move NASCAR 08 and NASCAR Heat Evolution up to E, and put NASCAR Heat 2 up to D. And the reason I'm doing that is because they don't deserve to be stuck here with NASCAR Ignition. This is its own tier. NASCAR 21 Ignition was terrible, and at least these other games, while I didn't have fun playing with them, they at least worked. NASCAR 21 Ignition was not only the worst NASCAR game I've ever played, it's the worst racing game I've ever played. I've played a lot of racing games, and this one was by far the worst. The game does not work. It looks incredible graphically, and the lighting looks pretty dang solid as well. That's about all it had going for it. The audio sucked. It was filled with bugs. The handling was okay, not perfect, not great. It was just okay, and it was so frustrating to play. The AI was terrible. It was littered with issues throughout every aspect of the game. It was just such a frustrating experience. The one thing this game had going for it, though, was a few things, actually. The paint booth was really good. You had over 1,000 layers you could put on your car as well. You had the silly season in the game. Replay mode, there was, you could look at any car in replay mode. So there was a few things where I saw the vision, and I really wish we could actually take a few things from NASCAR 21 Ignition and hopefully get those into NASCAR games in the future, like the silly season and the paint booth being as good as it was in Ignition, and being able to spectate other drivers. But outside of that, the game barely works. It was terrible, and yeah, I mean, they fooled everybody when they were releasing this game. It was so bad. NASCAR Rivals, also under Motorsport Games, actually wasn't terrible. I would give it an E. It was on the Nintendo Switch, and for a Nintendo Switch game, it was okay. I just didn't enjoy it, though, but you had the next-gen cars at that point, and I was actually able to complete a season in the game without too much issue, so that was already a step up from NASCAR 21 Ignition. But my thing was, I just didn't really enjoy playing it. It didn't do anything for me. And finally, we have NASCAR 25. Now, NASCAR 25 is an interesting one. The first game from iRacing Studios, and I mean, I'm going to put that one in, let's see here, I'm going to put it in a B in front of NASCAR Inside Line, just from personal experiences. That's where I'm going to slide it into right there, right here, right in the middle of B. Good game, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Of course, the career mode leaves a lot to be desired, and I mean, there's a lot to be desired out of the game. That's basically why it's down in B. But I am a firm believer it's the best racing experience I've had on my wheel in a NASCAR game, as well as the AI. The AI is super fun, but there's still a lot of AI issues, such as the pit logic, as well as them getting on and off pit road. That stuff's quite frustrating. There's some moments where they will just blatantly run you off the track into the wall at like Nashville or Richmond. They'll turn you right down onto the apron and just don't care that you're there. There's the frustration of, the AI pushing you as a draft partner and kind of making up for them being faster than you on a straightaway. So there's a lot of frustrations there with that. But overall, I've had so much fun with the handling, and the online has been more fun than I've ever had in a NASCAR game. But like I said, good game, but there's a lot left to be desired, and I think they're taking good steps forward into NASCAR 26 with what I've seen so far. And for a first game, I mean, look where I rated the first game from the Heat series is down here in an E. So that tells you the difference of quality, in my personal opinion, of where we're starting off with the first game of this series. So I think it's a great start, and all I can hope for is it continues to develop and improve. this went a lot longer than I thought it would, but that's my final ranking of NASCAR games. I only have 2 in the S tier for NR 2003 for the reason I already stated, and then NASCAR Heat 4, you know, for mainly a lot of the AI reasons, and the career mode was also relatively fun as well, but I just have so much fun with the AI racing in NASCAR Heat 4. This is going to be a controversial one right here. People are going to say I'm an idiot, but that's okay because it's personal opinion, so that's fine. You guys leave your opinions down below in the comments. What do you agree with me with, and what do you think I'm an absolute moron over? Probably NASCAR Heat 4. That's going to be my guess. But that does it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.